that Ghanaians are really, they don't really want to pay attention to, or they don't want to hear, is the fact, is the whole comparison in relation to the fact that, you know, would it not be fair that during the regime of the previous government, the major thing that they would talk about was the Russia-Ukraine war being a huge factor to what was going on, most especially with our pricing.
So the difference in the debate is that when we were in opposition, we criticized them because the excuses they were making was not reflective globally. The fact that every country experiences the negative effect of this global phenomenon, but Ghana's own was exaggerated because the economy was shambolic, the economy was poorly managed, and it did not have the necessary buffers to hold on when there is the need. Because at the time they were speaking, they were doing an inflation of about 54% in 2022, 2023. There was nothing like that across the sub-region or around the world. It was Ghana's own that was isolated. Our city was depreciating on a monthly basis. Inflation was skyrocketing, fuel prices were extremely high. That phenomenon was not being experienced or the way and manner we were experiencing it in Ghana all over the world. You understand the point I'm making? Same cannot be said about this current situation. Go to the US. You know that in only a few weeks, because of this war, petrol and diesel has gone up from about $2 to about $4. There are some places $5. I was in the US. I returned just about a few days ago, and I personally experienced it. You understand the point I'm making? So clearly, that comparison cannot be sustained if the MPP wants to enter into this argument with this narrative. Clearly, cannot be sustained because what we are experiencing presently is happening all over the world. I've mentioned the US, UK, all over the world. Yes, you've seen the demonstrations that are happening in the US. Many states, over 10 states, people are demonstrating about the ravages of the war that the US has entered into with Iran. That did not happen in the previous regime when they were claiming that it was because of external, because of Russia-Ukrainian war. Everybody saw that it was a palpable lie. It was the economy that was shambolic. They didn't know what they were doing, and they clearly were out of ideas. Just like President Kufuor said when he was asked about what he is doing to bring the economy back to life. He said that let's wait for the new leader. When he had 2 years in government, we should wait for the new leader to save the economy. We came, and in the space of 1 year, we completely stabilized things. Just only a few weeks ago, this issue has come, and the MPP wants to equalize. Nobody, no objective and well-meaning Ghanaian will buy into their narrative. Everybody knows this is one of.
Talking about stabilization, give us some in-depth into what this current government had to do, because at the beginning you did state what you had to inherit from the previous government. And so what was it exactly that you had to do that fuel pricing started reducing, and then also the level of stabilization up until this whole Russian-Iran.
So one of the strategies, we realized that as a government and looking at the way and manner our economy is structured, people experience unbearable, excruciating pain from the ravages of exchange rate volatilities. What it means is that because we are largely import-dependent country, we need to change Ghanaian cedis into dollars.
Okay.
You need to change more Ghanaian cedis to get few dollars. At the time, the exchange rate was doing about 16 Ghana cedis. So in order to stabilize that, we need to stabilize the Ghanaian currency. So you recall that when President Mahama came, we reduced our national budget by about 10 billion Ghana cedis in 2025. We were spending within our means. That was one of them. We actually reduced the size of government, reduced the number of ministries, reduced the number of presidential staffers. Some privileges, emoluments, and perks that were being attributed to government officials, like presidential staffers, were taken. Fuel, vehicle, and what have you, DSTV, and what have you. So many things was done so that we reduce the rate at which we spent, so that we can have enough space to do essential spending. That was number one. The MPP was living outside their means. They were spending I mean, they were living a champagne life on an appetition budget. You have money for only champagne, but you have money for only appetition, but you live as if you have money to live like a British aristocrat, or you understand? They were clearly not living within their means. That is number one. Number two, when President Mahama came, he brought a novelty, an ingenious intervention called GoldBod. What GoldBod was doing was to formalize, streamline our gold sector. Over the years, foreigners have taken over our gold export and gold business. So when they export the gold, they are supposed to repatriate some amount of monies into this country in forex. They were not doing it. So President Mahama said that we mine our gold in Ghana. Why can't we benefit from the sale of the gold we mine? So he instituted GoldBod. GoldBod is now the sole marketer of our small-scale gold or artisanal gold. In 2025, over $11 billion was realized from that. This made sure that our international reserves had increased from the $8.9 billion that we met to about $13.8 billion. Increasing our import cover to over 5.7 months. When you are able to do that, there is not so much, exchange rate volatility that you will experience, because you have a stable Bank of Ghana, you have a stable international reserves that will serve as shocks.
Regardless of the gold market globally, there being, if it's fluctuating, there's still some level of stability.
Exactly.
Is that it?
Yes, because you have a larger international reserves that will hold your Ghanaian currency when, you are in times of austerity. The people did not have that. You call that in a space, in somewhere around 2022, 2023, there was capital flight of over 6 billion because there was no confidence in the economy. Today, investors are happy to come to Ghana because inflation is down, the cedi is now appreciating against major trading currencies. That wasn't the case in the previous regime. There was constant depreciation. As we speak, in 2025, the Ghanaian cedi actually appreciated to the US dollar at about 40.2%. against the pound, about 30.7%, against euro, about 24%. You understand the point I'm making? That is a track record that is enviable and that the MPP cannot match up to it. So these are some of the reforms that the government actually did in order to restore confidence in the system, stabilize the economy, and for Ghanaians to really benefit from it. So when the exchange rate is stabilized and it's low, fuel will reduce, price of goods will reduce. You saw major supermarkets within this country announcing that because of the gains we've made in the Ghanaian economy, they are reducing their price. Biney Company did that, Okadeco did that, Electromark did that. Many, there were, common commodities in this country that actually experienced reduction. For example, a ton of iron rods, when we came, was about 9,500. It came as low as 7,000 Ghana cedis. You understand the point? These are benefits people can experience. The price of oil, the price of, these are daily things people actually trade in and benefit from it. We made sure that it's done. So when in only about a month, because of something that is so isolated that has happened on the international, on the global markets or the global space, the MPP wants to, use that as a platform to launch their comeback. That is never going to happen. Ghanaians are objective, they are discerning, they know that this government has done extremely well for the benefit of the people of Ghana.
Let's talk about reason.